All right, welcome to Computer Science B10, the Python class. My name is Bill Mosley, and I am your instructor. Before we jump straight into things, I just want to point out to you, in case you didn't notice, I am recording. Uh, I am not recording you, I'm recording me. I will record all of my lectures and I put them online. I have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to so that you can get updates as soon as they're uploaded. You'll get a notification. That way you can stay on top of things if you have to miss class or life happens, as it does. Or in cases where I miss class, I teach the same class on Monday and Wednesdays. So I will upload the lectures from those and ask you to watch those instead of coming to class in cases where class is canceled, or on like Thanksgiving holiday when we lose a Thursday. That way we can keep the learning moving forward. This class is packed with material. I would even estimate that we cover more stuff in this class than they even do in Computer Science B10 or B11 or B12, which are the first two computer science courses of the degree program. So I think there's a lot to cover. Hopefully it's not overwhelming to you. We do start at an absolute beginner level. So if you've never done any coding before or you have no exposure to coding, that's fine. If you've got some exposure to coding, prepare for an easy first few weeks. But that's never a bad thing, especially if you've got other classes to balance. So just be thankful instead of being bored. So at the beginning of each class, I'm going to have the QR code, or I'm going to try to have the QR code up in front of the class if you come in late, or if I happen to have a slide or something that doesn't have the QR code, just log into Canvas and register your attendance there. That way I can kind of keep track of who's coming and who's not. And if somebody drops off the face of the earth, I can reach out to you and ask what's going on, or check in with you and make sure you're okay. So with that said, let's jump straight into this and start with this class. What is Computer Science B10, and is this class for me? How many of you are taking this class because it's required for a certificate or a degree or something that you're working toward? Okay. Safe to assume that the rest of you are taking it for personal interest? Anybody who doesn't fit either of those two categories? Okay. Okay, so it's about 50-50. That's totally fine, totally normal. This is not required for the computer science degree. A lot of people think it is because it sort of fits in that sequence of 11, 12, 13, 14, which are the 4 classes that you take for computer science. It is, however, a part of other degree programs, including industrial automation, web development, and a few others. It's also, in my opinion, one of the more valuable coding classes that you can learn at BC in terms of actual value that you can take away and use. Python is extremely common. It's one of the more commonly used languages on the planet, and it's used for everything from basic applications to the vast majority of artificial intelligence training occurs using Python. So if you're interested in AI, and these days it seems like everybody's interested in AI, Python is the place to go. In fact, my son, who I'll tell you more about throughout the class, works at Microsoft, primarily uses Python, not C# or any of the Microsoft languages in his day-to-day work. So it's kind of interesting, but it is that big of a deal. It's a great place to start if you're interested in learning about coding, or if you're trying to decide if a computer science degree is for you. I think it's a great class to take because it will actually get your feet wet. And if you decide to go on in a computer science degree or take B11 or B12, after this class, you will have a strong enough foundation to be able to be very successful in those classes. That's a guarantee. So it's an intro to the ideas of programming and software development. I'm not going to just teach you the language. I'm going to teach you how to create good software. That means user experience design. That means thinking about things like debugging, code efficiency, all of that stuff. So, and code reusability and the ability to collaborate with other people is huge. And if you go into software development, chances are very, very good that you will not be just sitting in a dark room by yourself working on a project with nobody else. You're going to be working as part of a team, which means sharing code. It means other people have to be able to read your code, and you have to be able to read other people's code. So we're going to talk about all that stuff in this class. Uh, and yes, of course, we will learn the Python language along the way. You'll learn quite a bit about Python, and I think it's going to be very useful for you. So this class, I'm teaching on Monday, Wednesday from 1 to 2:25. That should be PM, not AM. I'm not that hardcore, guys. PM at the Panorama Campus, Business Building, Room 11. And of course, this class, and then I'm teaching this class online. Why do I bother to mention this? Well, because I will have online students who watch these videos. I put them out for all of my online classes, but also so that you know, if you happen to be like meeting with financial aid on a Monday, Wednesday, and you're over at the Panorama campus, you can feel free to drop in for extra help, extra work time, something like that. Right now, the classroom is very full over there. I don't really have a lot of capacity, but as long as there's capacity, and believe me, I will have capacity as the semester goes on, because inevitably people just sort of drop out as time goes by. As much as I try to keep you all in the game, people have stuff that comes up, or they decide that that's not for them, or whatever. So as the semester goes on, there will be more and more space over there, and you're welcome to drop in. And you may, from time to time, see new people drop into this classroom from the online class or from the other class as well. This doesn't apply to anybody. You aren't on a wait list right now, so that's good. We will just keep right on going. And the first thing I want to talk about is the class syllabus. And you can find the syllabus right here on our Canvas website. How many of you have been into the Canvas site already? Okay, great. Good job. Okay, so the course syllabus is right there. And it's a non-traditional syllabus, I guess you could say. But I like my syllabi to actually be a little bit more useful. Let me hit the highlights for you right now. Oh, here's a QR code in case you didn't bring it up there, but I'm just going to keep rolling because I don't see anybody reaching for their cameras. So the first thing, a little bit about me and my own personal life. I am the dad to 7 kids. 5 of them are adopted. And this is us last year at my oldest daughter's wedding, who's 25. And my youngest, Kai, is from Haiti, and he is 11. And so we've got a distribution of ages in between that. I've got a few kids at Cal State. I've got one in this building taking a psychology class right now, who's in high school. My son, who works at Microsoft, my daughter who works at Cal State, and that one's in 8th grade. So we're a big, crazy family, and growing up as a only child that lived with a single parent, having 7 kids was not something I had on my radar, and it wasn't really something we had planned out, but we just, once we started building a big family, we really liked it. So we just kept adopting kids, and it's been really cool for us. And having a multiracial family has been an eye-opener for me as a white guy who didn't have that kind of experience growing up. But it's been really cool and really good. The one thing everybody has in common is this. They're all competitive swimmers. In fact, this is my oldest daughter, the one that got married, right there in the yellow cap, winning her race at Junior Nationals, which she swept that year. And she went on to swim at Olympic trials in 2016. Was in a lane right next to a girl named Katie Ledecky, who was an up-and-coming star at the time. Got absolutely destroyed by Katie Ledecky, but it was fun to swim next to her and fun to watch. Swimming in front of 50,000 cheering fans is a pretty cool experience. But all my kids swim. That's the Microsoftie right there. That's him at his internship at Microsoft right before they offered him a full-time job. If you want to learn more about how he progressed through his internships and became eligible or able to obtain a job from Microsoft, I'd be happy to share it with you. Also, he teaches computer science B11 for BC. So if you seek him out, you can ask him yourself. This is my other son swimming at Liberty High School. He's a Roadrunner now. And that's the one taking the psychology class right there, swimming at Liberty. And she swims full-time club now. She's actually training for her college recruiting, which is happening. We love swimming. It's a great big family sport because everybody can be on the same team. If they had played soccer, I would have gone to 7 soccer games every weekend, and I'd be dead right now, not standing in front of you. There's no way I could have handled that. But everybody goes to the same swim meet. We all cheer for each other, and then we all go out for food afterwards. In my opinion, one of the best sports ever for parenting anyway. Professionally speaking, I got my career started at Bakersfield College. I was a student at Bakersfield College. And then I went to Fresno Pacific University, which is a small private school up in Fresno. Went to Pepperdine University for my master's degree and the University of Nebraska for my doctorate. That's a lot of school, and I can tell you all about it if you want, but it's not that exciting. It's just a lot of school. And getting a doctorate is hard work, but it can be worth it if that's what you want to do. I'm in my 26th year at BC. I started in 1998 when my oldest daughter was 2 weeks old. And I also taught for 21 years at Pepperdine University after I finished my master's degree. So some of the things I specialize in, other than just teaching computer science and coding, is learning in virtual worlds. This actually took place in a virtual world called Second Life in 2007. The New York Times did an article actually on the teaching that we were doing in that time. We actually would have large group discussions in a huge virtual hot tub because it's a virtual world. Why not? I've also had class in a game called World of Warcraft. Maybe you've heard of it. This is me with a group of graduate students sitting outside Northshire Abbey. They were all level ones. That's as far as they could go. So we just sat there and had a nice discussion while people would walk by and stop and virtually stare at us and ask questions like, why are you talking about learning theory in World of Warcraft? But it was fun, and it's a good way. It was more fun at the time because we didn't have Zoom. It was more fun than popping into a boring text-based chat client. Plus, everybody had fun questing together and things like that. It was good for group building. I've also taught a class on building computational models in Minecraft using redstone circuits. Something I like to do, and it's kind of fun. A lot of Lego robot building, and even circuits that are built into sewn objects. This is a pillow that lights up when you squeeze it. Why would we do that? Because it's fun and it's a great way to learn about computing and how computers work. So that's called a LilyPad Arduino, in case you want to look it up later. They're cheap and you can do a lot of fun stuff with them. But you can actually see the threads here are actually the wires that connect the lights to the sensors. It's kind of a fun, it's great for kids, by the way. My kids love doing that stuff. My office hours here at BC Southwest are somewhat limited. It's basically going to be a little bit of time before class and a little bit of time after class. I don't have an office here, so it's a little tough to do office hours. I do make Zoom appointments because I teach a lot of online classes. Happy to do a Zoom appointment for you also as well. And if you happen to be at Panorama Campus, it's 12:45 to 1 p.m., not a.m. like my class, and 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. It's basically before and after that class as well on Monday and Wednesday. So if you happen to be around and you want to meet up, that's great. It's always a good idea to send me a message if you happen to be coming to office hours or you need something or you need to meet up, because I do have meetings that pop up or things that happen. Sometimes I just get hungry and I need to go to the cafeteria for a fried burrito. You know how that is. So just send me a text message. My text number is in the syllabus, so you can get that. And don't worry about texting me. Every time I have a student text me late at night, they apologize for texting me so late, as if at midnight I'm sitting there staring at my phone waiting for somebody to text me. I'm just going to sleep through it and I'll text you back in the morning. But it's totally cool. You can text me. I know some of you are going to be night owls and are going to be working on this stuff in the middle of the night. That's totally fine. Doesn't bother me at all, but I may not respond immediately if I am sleeping. Just a little heads up. So attendance is something I wrestle with, right? BC requires you to attend class for in-person classes. I think there's value in being here, and I try to make this class valuable for you to attend in person. I do video every single lecture. I do put it online pretty quickly, usually, and but I still think there's value in being here. I think there's value in sitting next to a peer working on the same projects. I think that there is value in having work time in class where you can ask me a question and get an immediate answer, because I'm going to be sitting here waiting for you to, unlike when I'm sleeping, I will be here waiting for you to ask me questions. Every single class time will have lecture and it will have work time. That's a guarantee. Okay. Every single class. Why is it better to work here than at home? Because you have that immediate access to me. You're sitting next to people who are working on the same problem as you. So if you're stuck, maybe the person next to you knows the answer, or maybe they can share their code with you and say, here's how I approach that problem, or here's how I figured that out. That is something that happens all the time in software development. Software development is almost never done completely solo. And even if you're sitting at home working on a project that's like your personal thing that you're doing by yourself, chances are very, very good, even if you're a very experienced software developer, or maybe even especially if you're an experienced software developer, that you're going to be looking at websites like Stack Overflow or Reddit or whatever website, W3 Schools, and any number of different websites that are out there that are created by other people to help software developers. Because in software development, in computing, there's a real culture of open sharing of information. I don't expect you to do this class in a vacuum. I don't expect you to sit there and never talk to your neighbor about what they're doing. I expect you to collaborate. I expect you to use resources that are available to you. I will say that if you're stuck on an assignment, try really hard to use the resources that I put out there first, and maybe even ask me second before you just do a random search on YouTube, because there's probably about a 50% chance that what you're going to find on a YouTube channel that explains that concept is going to be completely different from what we're learning in class. And just remember, anybody can make a YouTube video. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to pass the test. You don't have to prove that you know anything. I can make a YouTube video about French right now, and I don't know French, but I can fake it. And if I fake it good enough, somebody who wants to learn French might watch that video and start repeating the things that I say. God help them. So let's be really careful about grabbing random resources online. I know it's easy to do, but I don't recommend it. If you need additional help, I'm actually able to point you to resources that will be helpful. Okay. So those are some of the reasons why it's important to be here. I think there's value. I try to make it valuable. I hope you will make it. As far as BC goes, BC wants me to drop you if you miss more than 2 weeks of class time. Will I automatically do that? No, probably not. Do I appreciate it when students are going to miss class and they let me know? Yeah, it's nice to know, because if you're here for weeks and then you just stop showing up, I do kind of wonder if you're okay, or and I may or may not reach out to you, but it's nice to know. We're part of a community of learning here for the next 16 weeks. So if you can uphold some kind of a community standard and be a part of that community, that's even better for everybody. So online students, it's a little bit different. Online students, attendance is participation in those courses. So for an online student, I'm going to be looking at, are they participating on a regular basis? And if they stop participating, then I start to wonder if they're okay. If you're here in a classroom, I want you to be present if possible. A few hard deadlines in the class, and these are on the syllabus. These are in Canvas, but I just want to point them out. For A1, for assignment 1, the hard deadline is 8/27, which is Sunday night, this coming Sunday. The reason for that is that if you don't submit something by that deadline, I will drop you from the class, because what I found is that people who don't finish assignment 1, which is incredibly easy, and I'm actually going to show you step by step how to do it. If you're not able to do that by the end of the first week of class, you're not going to be successful. And I'd rather drop you when you still get a refund and it doesn't go on your record at all. It doesn't go on your transcript. It's like you were never here. So it's better for that to happen than for you to get halfway through the class and take a W. There's another hard deadline that's for a similar reason. I want everything through A5 done by October 15th. Same reason. In this case, you'll be dropped with a W because I can't drop you without a W. This is right before the last date to drop with a W. And basically, it's a safety for me because by this time, our class assignments will be about on assignment 9 or so. So if you haven't finished by A5, you're so far behind that I know that the odds of you being able to catch up are almost none. So I'm saving you from yourself at that point. Yes, sir.
So your policy on late work is up to assignment 5
My policy on late work is I want you to keep trying until you get it right, and I will take infinite resubmissions. I will accept late work. Every assignment has a due date because it's important for you to know sort of the pace of the class, and having due dates lets you know if you're on pace or if you're falling a little bit behind or how far behind you're falling. But I will take late work, no penalty, period, end of story, with the exception of these 2 dates. And if you have, let's say you're walking out here and you get hit by a car or something. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. And you're in the hospital and you're almost there. You have through assignment 4 and you just haven't submitted assignment 5. Will I drop you if you text me and say, hey, I'm in the hospital. I still plan on being in part of the class? No, I'm not crazy. And I'm not a terrible person. Okay, so I want you to succeed in the class, but if you're just sort of ghosting me and you haven't turned that in, I'm gonna save you from yourself, and I'm gonna get you a W instead of the F that you're probably gonna get instead. So that's just sort of the philosophy behind that. Grades. First thing I want to say is I think grades are stupid. I wish we didn't have to have grades. If I could choose not to, I wouldn't give anybody grades, period. We would just be here learning the material, doing our best to get the skills that we need to get the good jobs. Grades are required by the college, at least a final grade in the class, but I don't have to talk about grades at all up until that point. And I'm not going to be grading your assignments. I'm going to be looking at your assignments, and all I'm going to ask myself when I'm looking at your assignment is, does this work show me that this person understands the concept for that module? If the answer is yes, you get a point. If the answer is no, I'll tell you what I think and have you do it again. And you can do it again until you get it. I'm not one of those one and done kind of teachers because every assignment in coding, later things build on earlier things. So if you do something and you get it wrong, and I don't allow you to fix it, how are you going to get the assignments that are further down the road? I want you to learn the stuff. I want to help you learn the stuff. That's it. So everyone starts with 0 points in the class. Every assignment is worth 1 point. Keep trying till you get it. And the goal is learning and skills in this class. The goal is not getting a grade. If you're here for the grade, please, what are you doing here? Be here for the skills. Be here because you need to learn this stuff. And don't cheat yourself. There are 13, you could say they're required, or maybe I should say core assignments plus 4 bonus assignments. I don't care which 13 points you get. 13 points is 100%. You could do 9 of these and all 4 of these if you want. These are things that I think are maybe extra or more fun. The 13 ones that come before that are things that I would say they're probably important things for you to understand. That's why I make a distinction. The 4 bonus assignments are creating an image filtering application, or you can do Instagram kind of type filters in Python. So we'll play with images. The second one is a graphical user interface in Python. The third one is a game using the Pygame library in Python. And the fourth one will be a brief introduction to data science using Python. Data science is a precursor to AI. So learning some of those tools and data analytics will be useful to you. All four of those are extra. So if you reach the end of the class and you're kind of underwater or you're struggling with some of these first 13, you probably won't want to do these four bonus ones. But it allows those of you who are maybe more advanced or who want a little bit of extra challenge or who want to go the extra mile or maybe go specifically into one of those areas, the opportunity to push yourself a little bit further, gain some more skills and that sort of thing. What I'm really concerned about mostly is those first 13 though. So grading scale, 12 or more points is an A, 11 is a B, 9 to 10 is a C, and 8 is a D. That's just simple math using 13 points as the denominator and the fraction, okay, with a standard grading scale. Like I said, your grades in this class, that's the only time we're going to talk about grades is at the end of the semester. I will give you a letter grade just like you're supposed to have at Bakersfield College, and I will dream of the day when we don't have to do that anymore. I realize that this is entirely too small for you to read, but it's on the syllabus, and I'd like you to take a look at it because it outlines some expectations that I have of you as students. I think they're pretty common sense, like treating your peers and me with respect, try to be an active participant in the course, maintain the open line of communication, that sort of thing. And things like I will treat you with respect. And the last two I do want to talk about on the things I will promise you I will do. Number one is I will bring my A game every week. I'll come prepared. I will have the lesson ready. I will have projects ready to go. I will work hard because I want you to have a good experience in this class. And the last one is I will trust you as students. I do not lose sleep at night freaking out about whether my students are cheating. I just don't. You're not cheating me. I don't get paid less if you cheat. I don't feel any different. It doesn't affect my life. You're really cheating yourself. But that sort of brings me to the cheating flavor of the year, right? ChatGPT. How many of you have heard of ChatGPT? If you haven't, I'd be very surprised. How many have used ChatGPT? Okay, how many of you understand how it works? Okay, good. That's cool. ChatGPT, for those of you that don't know how it works, is a much overhyped but still very cool and still very useful tool that uses artificial intelligence to generate written language. It is based not on the whole internet, like many people say, but a small fraction of a percent of the internet, mostly focused on published books and Wikipedia articles that were written up until about 1995. That's not new, guys, okay? So some of it is out of date, some of the thinking is out of date, and it is very limited in terms of what it actually can do and knows. Also, very biased in some interesting ways. It is racially biased. It is gender biased. And as much as they've tried to eliminate that bias with interesting little side steps that it does, like try asking it questions like, which race is the best? And just try it. Try some experiments, and it will dodge the question completely. It'll say something like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm just a robot. But it's interesting. It is useful. It is a valid tool, I will point out, in this class and maybe even outside this class. Real programmers use it. I use it. My son uses it. It's a great tool. How do we use it? Do we have it do all of our work for us? No, it's not smart enough to do that. And it's not good enough to do that, just to be honest with you. But it is a great shortcut. If you're writing something repetitive, or you can give it a rule to generate something called a prompt. if your prompt is good enough, it can generate something pretty good. I'm not going to, like I said, lose sleep about whether you're using ChatGPT to do your work or not. I'm just not. Sometimes it's blatantly obvious that you're using ChatGPT or another tool. I mean, it's just as easy to go on Chegg and buy some code, right? Everybody knows. But if I have the sense that maybe that's what's going on, remember my job is to sit there and ask myself, based on the code that you submit, does this person understand the concept? So if I need more convincing that you understand the concept, I might engage you in a discussion about how your code is put together or what it means or how you came up with that idea. Because sometimes in the first week of school, I get people who claim they've never programmed before turning in code that is what we would have learned like in week 8 of the class. And I think, like what's the deal here? And I don't immediately say, I'm not going to turn you into the Office of Student Life for cheating. I'm going to say, how'd you come up with that? That's a really interesting approach or whatever. And we'll just talk about it. And maybe that person just figured it out and wrote that code and I'm wrong. But that conversation is usually all I need to convince me that they actually know. The bottom line is, I think you're here to learn. We were just talking before you all came in about the value of coding boot camps versus a computer science degree. And I would say one thing that coding boot camps do have in their favor is that in the tech world, it's nice to know that you have all of this degree knowledge and the background and the theory and all of that stuff. But in the tech world, it's not about your degrees. It's really about what you know how to do and how good you are when you sit down at a keyboard with an idea or an objective. I will say that in my son's immediate team, his work group, about 60% of those people have less education than he does. He has a master's degree. Most of them have a bachelor's degree. A few have a doctorate, but only 1 or 2 have a master's degree. And why? Because it is to some extent about what you know and how good you are. So if you engage with the class activities, if you really wrestle with the code and solving those problems yourself, you're going to learn a lot more and you'll become a better coder. One thing that ChatGPT is really great for is checking your code. You can actually copy and paste your code into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you tell me how I could improve this? And ChatGPT will go line by line and say, here's what I would recommend. So you can do things like that. You can look for bugs in your code. There's a lot of really great uses for it. And if you wanted to run some hypotheticals by it, some hypothetical, here's maybe how I would approach the problem kind of things, it's a valid tool. Could you take the assignment prompt that I give you and copy and paste it verbatim into ChatGPT and probably get the answer? Yes. Try it. See what happens. I mean, it's dead simple. You can figure it out on your own, but you're only robbing yourself. So that's it. Bottom line is, I'm going to trust you. If I suspect that you may not understand the concept, I'm just going to make sure that you do, because that's my job. So the schedule for this class is in the syllabus. Obviously, you can't read all of this, but you can get a sense of it. We will have 2 days of lecture every week, even days when class is canceled. I will post the video for the other lecture. I almost never am going to have like both a Monday and Tuesday canceled or a Wednesday and Thursday canceled. I'll have one or the other. So if this class is canceled, you should look for the whatever day precedes that, find the lecture for that day and listen to that instead of coming here. I do know that on this day, and this day, we will miss class. This is a Monday holiday, Labor Day. I have an out-of-town doctor's appointment this week on Tuesday, so that will be a missed class, and then, of course, Thanksgiving. So right now, I'm predicting we'll miss two of these classes. But like I said, on this one, just watch the Wednesday. On this one, watch the Monday video. And this kind of shows you the breadth of the content that we're going to cover. But you can see here, we're going to cover 1 or 2 modules per week. There are 19 modules total. And so we're really going to move. 2 of the modules do not have assignments associated with them. That's why there's 17 assignments and 19 modules. But we will cover a lot of ground and we'll go pretty deep. So just be ready. We'll move at a fairly rapid pace here. Before we wrap up the syllabus, I just want to point out a few resources for students. This Nexus has a presence on the main BC campus in the Panorama Drive. It is a student services and student support organization at BC. If you have any student concerns, if you have any needs that are maybe outside the lines or you don't know how to deal with them as a student or anything that's going to impede your progress at Bakersfield College, I encourage you to go there and just ask for help. They're very resourceful, and I've seen them help students in a variety of sort of out-of-the-box ways. At BC, we want you to know that you're not just a number. You are. We want to support you as a person and as a student in a variety of ways, and we've got a lot of things set up to do that. For Canvas concerns, if you're having issues with Canvas, the Renegade Online Hub can help with that. And finally, financial aid. I'm just going to put in a quick plug for this as a parent of 7 people who are all going through college or have gone through college. And my gosh, college is expensive, even BC. Get connected with financial aid. There's no reason, there's no risk here. It's free to apply for financial aid. And a lot of times, like my son that's at Cal State right now, had to apply for financial aid as part of a student orientation class and ended up getting like a $4,000 scholarship just randomly. So it never hurts, and they can help you with a variety of things. Our financial aid director is amazing, and she has personally told me that it's her goal to, whatever it takes, not let finances be an obstacle for any BC student. So just check it out. It just takes a little bit of time, and you can visit them virtually. So a few tips. These aren't written down in the syllabus, but just from me to you, after teaching this class quite a bit, I highly recommend scheduling regular time to check in and work. For those of you that are in the classroom here, that's pretty easy. Just come to class. This is your check-in and work time. I've seen a few students who have been able to complete every assignment by just coming to class and utilizing the work time wisely. You have to be a pretty experienced coder to do that with some of the later assignments. But the point is, you can actually get quite a bit done with the time that you've already blocked out in your schedule, right? You've all blocked this class out for the entire semester. As long as you stick to that and come to class, you're going to make a lot of progress. Ask me lots of questions. If you're confused about something or if you need additional information, don't be shy. I'm not a mind reader. I'm happy to answer your question or find an answer if I don't know the answer, but you have to communicate that first. This third one or fourth one, trying to understand what kind of learner you are. A lot of people go through school and don't really think about this stuff. They just sort of go to class and do the best they can and try and read. But trying to figure out what kind of learner you are and how you learn best is one of the most important learning strategies you can have. So taking some time to think about that and finding tools that complement that is a really important strategy. In case I didn't emphasize this enough, please communicate with me. And if you're having a hard time with the class and you're thinking about dropping the class, I would love it if you'd come talk to me first. Give me a chance to see if I can support you another way or if I can talk you out of it. I want you to succeed, and you can succeed if you drop out of the class. So that's kind of it for the syllabus. Any questions related to the syllabus? No? Nothing? All right. So moving on.